But I'm just I'm checking.
But have people started coming on yet?
It looks like we have 7 participants. Yeah, we have
They're
3
in the waiting room,
attendees.
right?
Correct. All right, people are coming in. I think people are in
Are they in the
now. Good
waiting
morning,
room?
everyone. I
Okay.
don't think so. They're here. Attendees. Yep, we have. Oh, I don't see everyone, but I think we have 5 attendees. Okay, people are coming in gradually. All right. Good morning, everyone. I know you won't be able to respond, but good morning. Welcome to our webinar. Awesome. You can write in the chat box. Okay, please, everyone write in the chat box. You can say good morning. Good morning, everybody. We're here live and we're going to start a very interesting session shortly. So thank you for making the time. Thank you for coming on. It's been a busy, very, very busy week, but we're happy to see you today. Morning, Kafilat, Kehinde, Mariam, Glory. Who else do I see here? Ozioma, Olukemi, Alice. Christiana, we see you. All right, we'll just wait. We're just going to give another 2 minutes and then we'll start. We're waiting for people to come into the room and then we're going to start the session. We have a lot to talk about and it's going to be very impactful because we have someone who's going to really do justice to the topic, and it's something that is very important for women. Good morning. Thank you for responding to the chat box. Please, by all means, interact in the chat box whenever you need to. If you have any questions, there's a Q&A. But for now, let's just say our good mornings, and we're going to start the session in a very short while. All right, we have 12 people in attendance so far, and we're looking forward to getting more. We're going to start in 1 minute. So I hope you have your pens, your paper, and your thinking caps on because this is going to be informative, it's going to be engaging, it's also going to be edutaining. And by edutaining, I mean you'll be entertained for sure, but you'll also be entertained and you'll also be educated. And that's the purpose of doing this session. So good morning once again. I see that it seems like we have all women here. So shout out to all the women in the house and happy International Women's Day. By all means, this invitation wasn't limited to just women. So if there are any men around you who may want to join, please allow them to join. But we really wanted to do something focused on women because this is our day. Well, our day is tomorrow. Sorry, our day is on Friday, but this is our week. We're saying at the office this morning that we're taking over the entire week because it is important that we celebrate ourselves as women. Okay. Awesome. Happy International Women's Day, everyone, in advance. All right. It's now 10:05, and I think we are in a good place to start. We strive to do things on time so that we are respectful of everyone who came in early, and we can also get as much as possible done in one session. Okay, so once again, good morning. For those who were not in the room while I was making my good morning greetings, good morning. My name is Oyindamola Egbeyemi, and I am the Director of Programs and Coordination at the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, also known as LSETF. And this is going to be a very interesting session because we're talking to women. Like I said earlier, we're celebrating International Women's Day all week, all week. We are taking the whole week. And this session is themed to empower us. The theme is financial management and opportunities for women-owned businesses. I'll repeat it just in case we missed it earlier. It's financial management or opportunities for women-owned businesses. Now, earlier this morning, I was made to do a video for our social media. And while I was doing a bit of research, I found that that most of our beneficiaries at LSETF are women. Over 60% of our beneficiaries are women. We also have more than almost most of our volunteers are also women. We have a professional volunteer network, and most of them are women. Additionally, most of our social media followers are women. So we are doing a lot. We're in spaces where where we were not present before, and we're doing things that we did not do before, what we were not able to do. And as LSETF, we're also here to support you, which is why this session is happening. And we're very happy to be running it. And I personally am very excited about what's to come during this session because we're having two very special people run it, and it's going to, well, one person is going to moderate it, and another person is going to give us the meat of the content. But all in all, it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be educative. We need your pens and papers down. We need to know that you are going to learn from the session. So you come with an open mind, try to avoid any distractions so that you can get the most of this session and everything that it has to offer. By all means, if you have any questions, we have the Q&A. Please ask your questions. We'll do our best to answer all the questions. We'll also share our communication lines so that you're able to get in touch with us if you have any further questions after the session. Even if something comes up tomorrow or next week, you're still able to reach us and get your answers from us. Now, I'm very pleased to introduce our sorry, I keep mixing up facilitator and moderator. But our moderator for this session is none other than our Executive Secretary, acting at LSETF. And our acting Executive Secretary is Mrs. Feyisayo Alayande. And I'll just make a brief introduction of her, just so that you understand her profile and the value that she is adding already to LSETF. Okay, she holds a master's in management degree from Imperial College Business School and a business economics degree from University of Reading. She possesses over 14 years in global banking and financial services, and she has experience in investment management, investment banking, and retail banking, both in Europe and Africa. Prior to joining LSETF, she led the strategic and business transformation teams that delivered on exceptional programs and digital and marketing products at Lesotho, Nigeria, an inclusive finance bank where she developed and managed a rollout of financial products and programs that provided access to capital across different sectors, including technology, agriculture, energy, education, and health, to everyday small and medium enterprises and individuals. So basically, people like you and us at LSETF. She's passionate about problem solving, development finance, and economic growth, particularly in Nigeria and Africa. So, with all due, with sorry. All right, without saying any more, I'd like to introduce you all to our Executive Secretary, Mrs. Feyisayo Alayande, who would be moderating the session. Over to you, yes.
Thank you, Oyi. Appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. Kudos to the 7 attendees that literally joined us at 11:01. Kudos to all of you. Thank you, and thank you again. Morning. I know Oyi kind of went through my profile, but honestly, it's not even about that. It's literally just making sure we're doing our bit to make Lagos State and Nigeria a better place. Welcome again to financial management opportunities for women-owned businesses. Like Oyi had highlighted, we're not only expecting women to join us, we're also expecting men to join us. So if you know anyone in your network that would benefit from this session, please feel free to forward the details to them. They just need to register and click on the Zoom link, both men and women. We want to make sure that as many people that are beneficiaries and non-beneficiaries of LSETF get a feel for what's to come from our facilitator, Ms. Kofoworola Durosinmi-Etti. So without further ado, I would introduce her now. But before I do that, let me just run through a brief profile about her. So Ms. Durosinmi-Etti, sorry, I'm trying to, okay, good, I've got it. I'm not sure why my screen isn't coming up. Sorry, give me a second. I actually had her profile here and now it's gone off. Just give me a second, please. Okay, apologies for that. So Ms. Durosinmi-Etti is the co-founder of Next Generation African Innovative Farms. Prior to this role, she had worked as a business planning and analysis analyst at Citibank UK and a finance analyst at Cisco Systems, in addition to other roles. She holds a first degree in economics and politics, a master's degree in development and planning, and a diploma in agriculture, water, and crop management. She's an associate of the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants and is a member of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. Welcome, Ms. Durosinmi-Etti, and thank you for giving us of your time today. She's actually one of our board members and is very, very passionate about seeing Lagos State beneficiaries and residents win. Welcome, Ms. Kofoworola Durosinmi-Etti. Can we give her an e-hand? Thank you. Before you come on, I do want to highlight something. There's a Q&A section. So as Ms. Durosinmi-Etti is going ahead with her slides, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat. I'll be coordinating this with her and answering them. And then obviously there's some questions that might be directed to us at LSETF. I'll be happy to answer those as well. But please feel free to drop your questions in as we go along. Thank you. Over to you, Ms. Durosinmi-Etti. Thank you again.
Okay. Thank you so much, Yes, for the introduction and director of programs as well. And I'm really excited to be here. And I hope I'll be able to share something of value to everyone that has taken time to join, and welcome to the attendees as well. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen and jump right into it. Yeah. Can you let me know if you can see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. So good morning again, and thank you for taking time out to join. And we'll basically jump right into it. So the presentation today is on financial management, opportunities for women-owned businesses in Nigeria. So I'll just start by giving what we're going to talk about. So there's a brief agenda, challenges faced by women-owned businesses, essential money management tools, knowledge, skills, and confidence, financial literacy for women entrepreneurs, financial planning and budgeting, growth opportunities and expansion strategies, financial empowerment and leadership, and conclusion. So basically, as the years has introduced me, my name is Kofoworola Durosinmi-Etti. I'm a chartered management accountant with over 17 years experience. I worked in the tech space, banking, microfinance, and now agriculture. We've been farming since 2013. That's basically when my farm was, when we started our farm. And that's my website and my handle. and my handles, and I'm a member of LSETF board. So we're women in business, and since we're here, let me promote myself. So if you like agriculture and you're interested in it, check out my handles, look at my website. I don't know, you might find it interesting. So we're taking advantage of opportunities. They put me in front of you. So I said, okay, let me put my business in front of you too. And I think that's the way we really need to approach our business. Every opportunity we grab onto it. Okay, so I think the number of challenges that women face, um, business owned by women, the number of challenges we face, and the key ones, and the ones that I have experienced as well, is lack of financial education and resources. I see a lot of female founders, they have a passion for what they do, but they don't understand the numbers. Then there's the cultural and gender bias. And I think it's not unique to Africa. I think it's a global phenomenon in the sense that when you look at the numbers, a lot of venture capital money, I think it's in 90%, don't quote me on that, goes to male-run businesses as opposed to female-run businesses. And there's limited access to capital. Our options are limited, especially if you're an SME. Even going to the bank, the interest rates they charge is like you're literally working for them, So just to jump right into the essential management money tools, things we do here. The key things you have to do, in my own opinion, when you have a small business, you need to budget. You need to have skills on cash flow management, and you need to track your finances. So in terms of budgeting, let me hide this quickly. So budgeting is establishing and sticking to a budget is crucial for managing cash flow and ensuring financial stability. When you create a budget, it doesn't have to be anything fancy or extravagant. Your budget can simply be, I need to have 1 million to start this business or to expand my business. And you break down what the 1 million naira is going to be for. Is it for buying tools? Is it for hiring people? Is it for renting a space? You need to have that budget, and if you don't have the money, it's kind of like a guide to let you know that you need to raise that amount of money if what you're going to do is actually going to work. Cash flow management. You will see this, cash is king, because the last thing you want is you have people owing you money and your finances are working. I mean, if you're using that basis concept, but you realize you don't have cash to run your business, you don't have cash to pay your salary. So it's critical to manage your cash flow. Then financial tracking software. So utilizing digital tools and software that can streamline financial processes and provide real-time insights into your business's financial health. It's important for you to track your business. I mean, when we say financial tracking, it can be something as simple as Excel. And the basic of the basic is probably, paper and pen, but you have to be careful with that. I mean, we're in the internet age, I mean. Okay, so knowledge, skills, and confidence. Successful financial management requires a combination of knowledge, skills, and confidence. It is important for us to understand what financial literacy is. It's not just a question of this is how much I made and this is how much I spent. It has to go beyond that, and we'll speak to that later in the presentation. Technical skills. I think with technical skills, I think the area I would like to focus on more is on financial analysis. Financial analysis in the sense that you need to try and understand what your numbers are telling you. So for example, if you sell 4 products, when you look at the numbers critically, you should be able to tell which is your most profitable product, which is the product customers like. And from there, you can take a decision that, okay, this is the product I'm going to push, this product I'm going to run ads for, then your least profitable, you can be like, okay, we're going to drop that and reallocate the resources to a product that is, really working for us. And your decision as a business owner won't just depend on that. There's like a plethora of things you need to think about. But considering we're talking about financial management here, we're looking at it from that perspective. We mentioned budgeting and planning. Planning is critically important. You have to plan. And you know what they say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. But sometimes things just happen. And when things happen, that's why it's good to have a buffer, which in this economy you might not have, but bear in mind that it's always good to have it. Then confidence. To build confidence, you're going to make a lot of good decisions and a lot of bad decisions. And you cannot, you beat yourself up, to be honest, because money has gone, but you cannot dwell on it. We've all made good decisions and bad decisions, even the big successful companies, trust me. I've worked in some, I've made some major mistakes. So financial literacy. So the key financial statements you have to be familiar with is income statements, your balance sheets, and cash flow statements. So your income statement provides a summary of your business's revenue, expenses and profits over a specified period. So for example, for the year end now, January to December, it could also be for a month. You know, it's usually for a month. It could be for a quarter as well, depending on how you track your numbers. Then your balance sheet, it presents a snapshot of your businesses, assets, liabilities, and equity at a given point in time. So this is less of a live document. Is when you look at the balance sheet, it will show you as at, you know, so that means that at this point in time, this was where we were at. It could change the next day, but it will still remain that in a way. Then your cash flow statement. The cash flow statement, there are different types of cash flow statement. They're like really easy ones, which I use and which I think a lot of small businesses use. And basically, we're just tracking our in and out. You know, we don't go into the nitty-gritty detail. So it tracks the movement of cash in and out of your business and provide insight into liquidity and cash flow. Liquidity is very, very critical if you're going to run your business on a day-to-day expense. I mean, the worst thing that can happen to a business, well, maybe it's not the worst thing, is to get to month end and you can't make payroll. I mean, it's ridiculous. The pressure is a lot because you probably not even go to work that day. I don't know if that has ever happened to anybody, but you know, I shall magic, right? So basic accounting principles. So it's important to familiarize yourself with fundamental accounting principles that will enhance your ability to interpret financial statements and make strategic decisions. So I think there are a lot of principles. There's revenue recognition, there's going concern, there's accrual, but the one I want us to really, really focus on is how we record our financial statement. So we have the option of the cash basis. The cash basis is literally, the cash basis of accounts recognizes revenue and expenses when cash is received or paid out respectively. So basically what that means is that you recognize any income when you receive the cash, not necessarily when you make the transaction. And you also recognize any expense when you pay for that expense as opposed to when you incur that expense. So the advantage of that is that it's simple and easy to understand. It literally tells you how much you have. It doesn't take into account if there are any receivables or anything like that. This is the cash you have. You know, it is what it is. And for your expenses, you can decide to owe somebody or not, you know, but you know that you have this cash flow. It doesn't necessarily reflect the fact that you're owing X amount of money. So the advantage of this method is that it's simple and easy to understand. It's suitable for small businesses with straightforward transactions. So basically, if you are selling and buying certain products that isn't complex, I think you can start with this. However, there are disadvantages. It may not accurately reflect the financial performance and position of your business. So for example, if you're looking at your P&L and you made sales of 1 million naira, however, you've only received value of 500,000. So what's this method will tell you that you only have 500,000 as opposed to 1 million. I don't know if you understand that. I don't know, can I just ask, is that clear? Does that make sense? Let me see what's in the chat.
Please feel free to put your comments in the chat, and if you have any questions, put them in the Q&A.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So the disadvantage is that it may not accurately reflect the financial performance and position of your business. It does not adhere to general accepted accounting principle, which is GAAP. Now, the other method is the accrual basis, and this is what a lot of most businesses, at least if you're an LTD.
Sorry, Ms. Durosinmi-Etti, I think somebody confirmed that it's not clear. If you could just repeat that last part. Okay, so which bit isn't clear? The cash basis? Yes, the cash, yes. Okay, so basically the cash basis is about, the accounting method is you only record the cash you receive and the expense you pay for, right? So for example, if I make a sale of a product of maybe 10,000 naira, right? But I don't receive that, it's not cash and carry basically. The person is going to pay me in 2 weeks' time. Your P&L isn't going to reflect the fact that somebody is owing you that 10,000. It's just going to show as zero. Do you understand? But the moment you collect the cash, it's going to reflect in your P&L. So that's the way the cash basis works. Does it make sense? Or yes, do you want to add to that? She's also a fellow, or am I putting you on the spot? No, it's fine. So what I was just going to highlight is basically saying recording the cash as when you receive it, just because you've made a sale. And it happens a lot with sellers on Instagram. Just because somebody has confirmed to you they want to do an order and you sent it, As long as they've not transferred that money to you, you're not recording it. So that's all that's what we're trying to highlight there. That it's only at the point of receiving it that you record that cash.
Yep.
I think the person has responded
Correct.
that yes, they get it now. Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. So the accrual basis is so basically we are recording transactions when we incur any expense or when we receive any cash. Not when we receive any cash. Sorry for that. Basically, when a transaction is completed, you record it. So in the example I gave before, once I make that sale of 10,000 naira, you go straight into my P&L, whether I've received the money or not. Do you understand? So the difference here is that the accrual base is actually more accurate because it shows that this activity has happened and we expect to receive value in the later at a certain time in the future. So the accrual basis of accounting recognizes revenue and expenses when they are earned or incurred, regardless of when cash is exchanged. Do you understand? So advantage of this is that it provides an accurate depiction of a business financial performance and position by matching the revenue with the expenses incurred to generate them. Somebody has raised their hand. So it adheres to the GAAP principle and international financial reporting standards, making it suitable for external reporting and compliance. So just to highlight something here, if you're going to go to somebody to raise funds, maybe you're going to the bank isn't going to accept, I don't know that they will accept cash basis accounts. You need to present your financial statements to them on a cash basis. It has to be on an accrual basis. So is there a question? So the disadvantage of the accrual basis is the fact that it requires complex accounting procedures and adjustments, which may be challenging for small businesses or those with limited accounting resources. So if you're just starting, and if you have a very simple business, you can start with cash basis, but it's always best to actually use the accrual basis from the start. And I think there are different softwares that financial software that I would speak to. Maybe I can always go out and research a bit more on. Yeah. So this is an example of the income statement. Now, the income statement shows revenue, which is critical for you to track, your expenses, which is your selling, general administrative, then research and development, if you do that, and then your operating income. So just speak to this. Total revenue is basically, this is an accrual basis. This statement has been done based on an accrual basis. So the total revenue shows here, right? The cost of goods sold is any direct expense with production of your goods or services, and that is what you remove here to get your gross profits. Yeah. Then after that, you have your operating expenses, and your operating expenses are, cost of selling, maybe advertising, salary, admin, fuel, transport, maintenance, and all of that great stuff. And if you do research and development, that is also there. So you remove all of that from your gross profit to get your operating income or net income. Then any other expense. So for example, if you have a loan with the bank and you're paying interest, you can also put it there. And then you have your pre-tax profit and then your taxes. So it can be it's actually pretty simple. I think the P&L is the simplest financial statement and the easiest to understand once you know what you're looking at. So then the balance sheet is definitely more complex because the thing about the balance sheet, I don't know anybody that is an accountant here, whatever you do when you're submitting your exam paper, if your balance sheet has no balance, I'm sorry, there is a problem. So it's very important. So basically what must balance is that your assets must be equal to your liabilities and stockholders' equity. So this is just a random balance sheet I'm using here. So under the assets, you have your current assets and your non-current assets. So your current assets are things like cash, accounts receivable, prepaid building rent, basically any prepayments you have made that you have not yet received value for. Supplies. So supplies can be like things you have, they're kind of like assets, like things that you would use within a short period of time. Then your total current assets, then your non-current assets are long-term assets, like your equipment, your laptop, your chairs, your tables. So these are things that are affected by depreciation. Then your liabilities are your notes payable, your accounts payable, your salaries payable, income tax payable, anything you have to pay in the future. Yeah, so your salaries, you would have to accrue for that because you have to pay at the end of the month. and whatever, salary related expenses. Then your stockholders' equity is basically the amount of money that the owners or the promoters of the business have put into the business, and also retained earnings from the previous year. So in the previous year, if you made a profit, you add it here. If you made a loss, you also add it here. It reduces the value, of your total liabilities. So these are all things that we have to consider. Then there's the cash flow statement. So there are different complexities around cash flow, there's the operating, the financial, and all of that. But the bottom line is this: your cash and your income minus your expenses must give you a positive cash flow. The moment that doesn't happen, you know that, you have to start self-correcting, basically. Because to happen in business, even me, so there are times that there've been a number of times over the years where our expenses were way over our cash and our income. And maybe we're buying an equipment, or we were investing in something. So we go ahead and, we find ways to, there's family and friends, different ways to, to close that gap. But that's what you must always understand. Your cash and your income must be less than your expenses. And your cash could be also, as a business owner, you might have multiple streams of income, for example. You might do other things. So you might take in money from wherever you get money from and actually inject it into the business, So that injection into the business can cover that expense. So there are different ways to cover that. Okay, so the other reports I think are important, especially for small business.
Can we pause there if there are any questions? I think it's been a lot, and thank you, Ms. Durosinmi-Etti. Going through each of those 3 actual accounting tools is very powerful. So it's worth highlighting that one of the comments in the chat, somebody asked, can we know the software? If there are any software you can recommend to do this for them.
Okay, and we'll speak to that.
Is that okay?
We'll speak to that later. Okay, perfect. So other report, if you have a bigger business, it's always good to have a management account. So your management account basically shows you your position in terms of your profit or loss for the month. It shows you where you are. Your balance sheet is being updated for that period of time. It also shows your cash flow. It can also include trend analysis. It can highlight, your best performing products or your worst performing products, your debtors and all of that. It's quite comprehensive. But if you're a smaller business, you can have a sales report which just tracks your daily sales, weekly sales, or monthly sales. My recommendation is that you do it on a daily basis, because you're updating a file. And if you wait for the end of the week to update the file or the software, you can mix things up. It used to happen to me as well. And I think for small business owners, I think one of the challenges we have is that we're everything. We're doing marketing, we're doing finance, we're doing sales, we're doing operations. So you have to have a routine around that. And your expense report as well, you could track it daily, weekly, monthly, or monthly. And also, I think you can also actually we'll speak to that, but the most basic form is paper and biro, but it's always good to have, use Excel or some kind of software. And your debtors report, it's really important for you to track your debtors. I think now for our business, if you're not a big business, it's cash and carry. You can't come and carry something and say, if I fix up something, I'll pay you next week. No, it's not allowed. You understand? If you're a small business, and in fact, a lot of businesses now actually say your payment confirms your order. Because if I don't get it, I'm not, we're not doing that anymore, basically. But track your debtors, because there are some people you have to. So, for example, for my farm, we actually supply to supermarkets. So obviously, I cannot tell them that they must pay me in terms of, oh, by the way, don't supply to any, you have to supply to people that you know that will pay you. Do you understand? Because that's some of the mistakes we made when we're desperate and trying to move goods. But once you have an agreement with the supermarket or whoever you're supplying to, every 2 weeks or every month, they pay you. So you plan accordingly. So don't go and plan to spend money that you're going to receive in 2 or 3 weeks. That's just something to note. So somebody asked about accounting software. So the most basic software you'd use is Excel. And there are a lot of Excel templates. And I think if you go, there are a lot of people that offer you free Excel templates to track your businesses. Just Google it. Trust me. Just Google Excel templates to track expenses, Excel templates to track revenue. You'll find something. Then there's also the Wave software, which is free. It's like an accounting software, but it's quite basic. It doesn't handle complex transactions, but it's really good. I've also used that as well. Then QuickBooks is more advanced than Wave, but you would have to pay for QuickBooks. Yeah. So QuickBooks Online is a comprehensive accounting software designed for small businesses. It allows us to track income, expenses, create invoices, manage cash flow, and generate financial reports. It also integrates with various third-party apps for added functionalities. Yeah. Then there's also Xero as well. Xero is also pretty good, so it's similar to QuickBooks. But just to add one more thing, there's Book IPI, and that is what I personally use for my invoices. And if you're not keeping track of your sales, it also helps you keep track of your sales. So once an order comes in, I just use Book IPI. You can download that on Android and on iPhone as well. And basically, it shows you how to, it gives you instructions and teaches you how to use it. And once you have that done, it's good. And the good thing about it as well is that you actually save customer information. So if your company phone gets stolen or anything, once you log into that system, it gives you all that information. And it's important because that has happened to us that's happened to us here. And that app really saved us in terms of customer information as well. Okay, so is that clear? The lady asking for apps. Also, just to note, there are a lot more apps available. These are just a few because obviously we can't cover everything here. So just go and research, just Google or ask ChatGPT. AI is a thing now. Like, what are the best accounting software to use? And but Google, then maybe deepen your search with ChatGPT, yeah, or any AI tool that you use. Then financial planning and budgeting. So financial planning is important to establish clear financial goals and develop a roadmap to achieve them developing a roadmap to achieve them is essential for long-term success. So it's very easy as a small business, just go with the flow. And that's okay. And I've done that in many ways. But if you want to grow, you have to plan. And I say that because right now we're moving from one side to another side. And because of everything that has happened in terms of prices, it has really, really affected us. And we planned and it still affected us, but the heat wasn't as bad. So essentially what we went back to do was we scaled down what we were trying to do because we had a limited budget and we didn't have access to any new inflow of money, right? And these are things you plan. And when you are planning, you need to understand that whatever you planned, it is not stuck in stone. You can always change whatever you're planning. Just make sure that you understand what the goal is. The goal is for us to grow, right? The goal is for us to establish X, Y, Z. However, this path we have mapped is not going to work. How do we adjust the plan to make it work? And I think in this period, and I think I was speaking to in the director of programs, that it's really about optimizing what you have. Because it's harder to access money now. I mean, there are some people that might not necessarily be true for, but I think for the majority of us, it's harder to access money. But we have to learn to optimize. So maybe we can also ask ourselves, okay, this is the resource we have, and we still want to achieve this goal. How are we going to go about doing it? So, for example, one thing we also did is that we started buying some secondhand stuff. Do you understand? So everything that we said, we're going to buy new, we're like, no. So, for example, in the kitchen we're going to buy new work tables. Well, now we have entered the market and we're going to get secondhand, and it's just as good. Don't compromise on certain things, don't buy rubbish, but just understand that within the confines of your limitation, what is the best decision you can make? You have to budget. It speaks to financial planning as well. Allocate resources effectively to cover expenses, invest in growth opportunities, and mitigate financial risk is critical for financial stability. It's very, very critical. And I think a lot of people, I think the budget is what their balance in their bank statement is not enough. I think it limits you. Budget, whatever you want to do, even if you don't have the money now, just be like, this is what I need to do. And budget for it. Then also it is critical. Strategic planning, financial planning is very, very critical because it aligns whatever your financial goals are with your business objectives. Yeah. Then growth opportunities and expansion strategies. I will say this. I think the internet technology is the great equalizer. Everybody, as long as you have access to the internet, and majority, I'm sure everybody on this call has access to the internet. If you can use the internet and leverage technology, right? You can achieve a lot of great things, and there are so many opportunities now. So you have to use the internet for market research. Whatever business you're in, you conduct market research to identify emerging trends, customer needs and growth opportunities. Even on social media, on Instagram, there's some people I follow on Instagram. And now sometimes I'll go to their reels and see which of their reels did really well. Maybe I'll see a reel that has like 2,300. I'm going to go and do something similar to that reel that was created, and half the time it works. And this is market research. You don't just scroll through Instagram to scroll through. I mean, there are times like that when you're just tired, when you're just scrolling to see what's going on. But there are times you actually have to scroll through social media to really see what's happening, what's popping, like, and see how you can replicate it. You can copy, but don't steal. Do you understand? Let them influence you, but don't steal, because we've had issues with that where people take what we've done, hook, line, and sinker, and present it as their own, and they were even doing better than us. No, don't steal, just copy. Then strategic partnerships. It's important for you to build partnerships. It's really, really important. And also, the reason why I say that is that sometimes, even with the partnership, you can actually access credits. And when I say that in terms of, so for example, the person that supplies us compost, I can buy like, oh, I'm going to need 50 bags, but I can't pay you right now. But because we have a relationship, I've always paid you as I went with you. Do you understand? But right now we're tight on cash and I need to continue production. So, and the person trusts me so I can, take those goods. So those are kind of things. And a lot of businesses, if you think about it, we actually, like when I supply, I'm giving them credit for 2 weeks. They don't have to pay me and they use the money for something else. So build partnerships, it really, really helps. Also, you learn from other people. You see what other people are doing. You go to different pop-ups, different events. It's really important. Then scaling strategies. Develop sustainable growth strategies and scale your business effectively to capitalize on growth opportunities while managing risk. Scaling is I think in technology, most especially, everybody's always talking about scaling your business, grow your business, 10x your business, putting pressure on people that don't have the means to scale. See, scaling is not by force. We scaled our farm from 2 greenhouses to 7, and it cost us so much money, and we took a big hit. Managing 2 greenhouses is different from managing 7, especially if you don't have a strong team, or if you think you have a strong team and you realize that you don't. So you have to be very strategic about how you scale. And I think it's always best to scale step by step, except an opportunity has come your way that you cannot pass up. Do you understand? So for example, that has happened to us. So where we are right now is much, 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 much bigger than where we were before. But the thing about it is that we are leasing land, and it's not all the time you get the opportunity to lease land in a good location, and the opportunity presented itself, and we took the risk, and we believe it's going to pay off. So that type of scaling is almost out of your control, but things that are within your control, you have to be very systematic and deliberate and intentional about it. And you don't just jump on, I want to scale, I want to sell price. No, can my business sustain this in the medium to long term? Then, financial empowerment and leadership, overcoming gender bias. So first of all, we have to advocate for ourselves. We have to advocate for gender equality. We need to challenge the stereotype, and we need to advocate for equal access to resources and opportunities. And the truth is that the bottom line is that it is only when we perform excellently well that our voices will be amplified. Because money always goes where it is best, it's going to be used in the best way, or people are going to get, the highest return. And that's the truth. So while we advocate for ourselves, we advocate for ourselves in, acquiring knowledge, executing on the knowledge we've gained, sharing this knowledge as well. So we have to build our own confidence, because I think us as women, I don't know if you talk to male entrepreneurs, if you hear the way they talk, and in your mind, you know that this person, that person cannot deliver. But the way they will say is, even when you start believing them. And I think as women, we need to start doing that, because I'm not saying we should lie, but you need to, what's the word? I don't know what, don't lie, but
it's confidence. It is confidence.
It is. Because
Just
I think we always feel like, we always feel like, oh, we can achieve, we are sure we can achieve this, but we're not sure if we can achieve this. The man, he's not sure if he can achieve what he's saying he will achieve, but he's telling you in a way that, and they will say facts, and it's don't guaranteed. That's the way they're talking to you, but in your mind, that. And I think we really need that confidence. And I don't know why women generally were like that. We always sell ourselves short, and we need to do better. We need to build that confidence. And to be honest, it's from practice. Put yourself in situations where you have to make those decisions or put yourself in situations where you see people behaving like that. I think for me, I can do it a lot more because I've just seen people do it and I know what people can deliver. And I'm like, this person that, I can, do you understand? Like, I mean, come on, even on my worst day, he's talking like this. How much more me? You get it? So I think that's what it is. You don't have to be fully 100%. But if you know at least you're 70%, say you can do 100%. Let me challenge you to do that. Then accessing financial resources. We have to be very creative about how we access finance. So one example as well is hire purchase. So some of our tools we're going to use on site is going to be hire purchase. And I'm sure some of you are familiar with that. And I think there's also lease financing and all of that. So basically you get the product from somebody and you pay them bit by bit till you finish paying, then you own the product. So I think that's something that has worked for us. We didn't go to the bank, our savings, family and friends, your network. And also with accessing resources, it doesn't always have to be money. Sometimes people might connect you to people that will be like, oh, okay, this is happening and you can use this space. So for example, if someone has a space that they are not using, and you speak to the person, like, oh, can I use this space while you're away? Actually, we're going to help you maintain the place and everything, and all the squatters won't come here. And you're doing it rent-free. So that is rent out of your expenses for at least the next year or 2 years. So we really have to be creative about these things. Then in conclusion, remember, financial success is within your reach with the right knowledge, skills, and confidence. And you need to understand that you don't always have to be successful. There are times when you're not making money, but you're showing up like you're making money. And there are times when you're making money and, it is what it is, right? So regardless, and see, it happens to everybody. There are months, in fact, quarters where we've made serious losses. But if you see me, you don't know I'm struggling. You think I'm chilling, And because I know I've had enough experience in business to know that I'm down now, but I'm coming back up. So it happens to everybody. So it's not even a big deal. You need to leverage technology in every single way possible to run your business and optimize for growth. One of the things we now do aggressively is we advertise on Instagram, and it works. So, for example, we actually just started advertising. I don't even know why we were in advertising. I think we're just getting enough inflow and we're thinking small. But we started advertising. Okay, let's be honest with you. The reason why we started advertising was that somebody was taking our, I mentioned to you that someone was taking our stuff and we were advertising. And we're seeing they were getting like 3,000 views, 4,000 views. And the person is come and order from us. It was someone that sent it to me that said, Coco, how far? I don't give you. And I said to the lady that, Madam, I know you buy from us, but you can't do this. And just there was a bit of back and forth around this. And that was when we
was she selling your stuff as her stuff?
She was, yes, basically.
Stuff.
Yes, she was representing our stuff as her stuff. It was in our port. Obviously, our logo wasn't showing. And I reached out and I'm like, Madam, this is our port. And we are the only ones that have this port. It was intentional. We brought it in for. And she's like, oh, that's why are we the only one that sells basil? I'm like, no, we're not the only ones, but we're the only ones that sell basil in this port. Jenna, you can change the port, no issues. So like, oh, I buy it from you. I'm like, okay, tag us. She's like, why would I tag you? I'm like, you know what? That's fine. And we went on Instagram and we started advertising. So I know for sure, and we did this aggressively. Do you understand? And we put out like 3 ads. 2 of them weren't working. So we pulled those two down. And the one that was working, it has done really well for us. And that's the thing as well. You have to test things. Not everything you put out there will work. You had 3 ads running, 2 weren't working, 1 was working, and we put money behind the one that was working. So track your numbers, even with ads and all of that. We don't do Facebook ads yet, but we'll probably do that eventually. But Instagram is working for us, in a lot of things. Maybe you need to write letters, you need to do presentations. You can use AI to do all those things, you have like the internet, there's just so much. And also on YouTube, everything I'm mentioning here is very high level. So you just go to YouTube and Google, how do I review financial statements? How do I create a basic financial statement and income statement? Things like that. And also it's important to treat your customers, you're only in business when you have customers, right? So you have to treat them excellently well. The customer is always right, quote unquote, right? But it shouldn't be at the expense of your business. You have to know when to let a customer go. And it's very, very important. Like when we started, our things were much cheaper. And that's because we're testing the market and people don't really like change. And there was this lady that used to buy a lot, actually 2 ladies that used to buy a lot from us. And next thing, we go from like 1K to 3K. And they're like, we know your pioneer customers, but I said, yes, but I've added value. And also when you change your prices, always add value. Don't just change. Well, sometimes you just have to change your prices, but always try and add value, So for example, when we change our prices significantly, we change the pots that we're growing in, we change the soil, we change the number of plants in each one. So the average person will be happy to receive value, willing to pay that amount of money for that product because it's not the same products you paid for. And that's literally what I told them, that it's not the same product you paid for. And some of them will say, oh, can you remove this? Can you remove it? I'm like, no, man, we can't remove it. That's the way we record it in our system. Do you understand? When you tell customers that that's the way it is in the system, that if I have to change it for you, then I have to change the whole system and I have to get approval, they usually calm down, So you just have to find a way to work around all these things without upsetting your customer. Cash is king. You need cash. Cash flow is very important. Whatever you do, track your cash flow, and you cannot track your cash flow just using what money is in your bank statement. And also, there's something we also do here. We have 2 bank accounts. We have the one that I have internet access to, and the one that I don't have internet access to a card to. So anytime money is moving from that account, we need to write to the bank. So that means we really need the money. And maybe that's a good way of managing your cash flow as well. That's a good way of managing your cash flow as well, So have an account that is strictly for maybe capital investment or on a needs basis, and the one that you use to run your business. So and track your numbers like a monitoring spirit. I'm a management accountant, and trust me, for me, I don't really do the finances of my business myself. So I have an external accountant that does that for me. But the key things, like I mentioned, my sales, my expenses, my debtors, I'm tracking that every single day because so for every business, there's a number. Right? When I say there's a number, the number I'm referring to is the number that you need to run your business in terms of the amount I need to pay my staff, the amount I need to cover my operating costs like oil, cleaning, anything. And there's also that bit of emergency fund that in case the generator should spoil, I can fix that. In case there's an emergency or something, I can fix that. Have that number, and that number is almost like a break-even number. And that number you always have to, whatever plan you have, that number must be covered every month. So that's how it starts. But as you grow, that number will be nothing because at the end of the day, you have to get to a point where you're making double and triple that. And also, as your business grows, it doesn't mean you also have to add more staff. Stretch your staff. If you stretch them and you add like on an extra 10K a month or 20K a month, if they're doing that level of value, then give that expand their responsibilities. I find that it works. And not just give them free money. There's a basis for that money. It could be a bonus. They need to do X, Y, Z to get this amount of money. They have to be creative in this economy. And so, so that's basically it. Thank you. And sure, share any questions you might have. And that's it from me.
Thank you, Mr. Durosinmi-Etti. That was a lot. If you notice, I was typing in the comments because I was like, there are a lot of gems here, and I didn't want people to miss any of those. So thank you so much. That's literally like a mini MBA in one session. So these are some gems. So thank you so much.
Thank you for your kind words.
Yes, before we go into comments, if you don't mind, I really want you to share with us the changes you made to the Instagram ad that was successful. And I say that because this question came up in a session I was in, I think last week. It wasn't one of our beneficiaries, but the lady said she's had to change a lot around her marketing on Instagram. And I thought that's interesting. We've never even thought about that. When we talk about digital marketing skills, we need to think of use cases of how people have learned and what they've adapted, not just learning digital marketing. So if you can just share with us, you said you had two that failed and one that was successful. Yes. If we can start there, I think we'll benefit from that. Thank you, Mr. Durosinmi-Etti.
You're welcome. So thank you for that question. Yes. So for us, the Instagram ad that works, what we realized was that we're showing people the end result, what they would achieve. Do you understand? It's almost like people like to project themselves into the future. So basically, it was an ad that showed them harvesting their produce of lettuce and of parsley and walking away. So we realized that it was shareable. So whatever ad we put there, let it be shareable and let it show people what they could achieve at the end of the day. The other ads that didn't work were just showing people products that, oh, this is available, that's available, this is available. We didn't get engagement on that. But once they saw that, first of all, this content is shareable, this is where they want to get, this is their goal, and it went really well. Literally, the other, and also run multiple ads and run it for 7 days, at least 7 days. Or maybe, but if it's really performing badly, maybe 3 days. And I'll tell you why. Look at your cost per click. The one that is doing well cost us 15 naira per person. The one that didn't do well was 45 naira per click. And the other one was 58 naira. Well, like, what was this? And we pulled it out. Do you understand? Track your numbers, see how your ads, get on, and also don't boost your post on Instagram. What you need to do is download the ad manager, the Meta ad manager, because it gives you a lot of details about your performance. And also, the other thing you must do is you must set your audience. Don't let Instagram choose who your audience is going to be for you. So, for example, the people you're targeting, if you're targeting women between the ages of 18 and 50, what is their demographic? What do they enjoy doing? What's their buying pattern? You have to take time to actually tweak that. And then you roll out your ads and you keep tracking it every day or every other day. But if it's too expensive, I feel for me, expensive is if it's over 40 naira, it's too expensive. You know, and the minimum spend we do a day is 1,600. That's our minimum spend. So that's what we did. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I was literally typing that for everyone that didn't catch. Minimum spend is 1,600, right? A day.
Yes, a day. Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for sharing that. Okay, so I think the big things for me that really resonated with me, and it's something we always tell all our beneficiaries that come to any masterclass, is accountability, documentation, mentorship. We're saying ensure you document every single thing. And then what we also say is make sure you're learning from somebody else, that you're never too big to learn. And it's funny, right? As you highlighted about documentation, I think one thing that people don't realize is when you then want to scale or when you then want to grow, it's those things you documented that you refer to for that skill, whether it is getting somebody else to join the business, whether it's accessing funding, whatever the case may be, it's those past documents that you've taken the time to document that would help in the next conversations when it comes to scaling and growing your business. So we can't stress that enough. So thank you, Mr. Durosinmi-Etti, for breaking it down even from a financial point of view. Okay, so I'm just going to go through, thank you so much. I was going to go into some elements speaking to LSETF specifically, but I think it's good for us to take the questions that we have in the comments, if that's okay by everyone. So there were two earlier on that I noticed, and I think I'll read through it, Ms. Durosinmi-Etti, and if you can answer them or I can chip in as well. So I think the first one that I captured, and if I missed any, please, Oyin, keep me accountable. The first one was for a starting business that is running at a negative cash flow. What would you suggest the business cut costs in and still be able to run a standard business? I'll take that again. And this was from Favor. So thank you, Favor, for dropping your comments. For a starting business that is running at a negative cash flow, what would you suggest the business cuts from a cost perspective and still be able to run a standard business? And she then went on to say, I'm guessing it's a she, by the way, in this context, say a fashion brand.
Okay, so thank you for that, Favor. So if you're off the back a negative cash flow, does that mean you're making a loss and you don't have any cash in your business? So first of all, when we start our business, a lot of time we're actually spending a lot more money than we're making. So it's normal in the first few years, but you have to have a reserve to cover those expenses. So the question is, do you have that reserve already to cover those expenses? Because normal for the first few months, even a lot of tech businesses run at a loss for a few years.
Yeah.
So now the alternative is, people in a lot of salespeople, this is finance people, we're always looking at cut expenses, but salespeople, they're always talking about how do we increase revenue? As an entrepreneur, the question is, how do I increase revenue? That's supposed to be your first question you ask. How do I optimize growth, right? So once you can do that, find ways to optimize growth. Are you advertising on Instagram? Are you reaching out? Are you going for events? Are you doing pop-ups? Are you showing up? Are you supporting other people's businesses? Are you commenting on people's Instagram posts? So I think the mindset should be, if you're already a lean organization, your mindset should be increasing revenue. Now, if you're not a lean organization, your mindset should be, yes, let's cut costs. Do I have too many employees? Is everybody being engaged? Do I have to run my generator at every single point and for the whole day? Things like that. So I have to start asking yourself, and also things you buy to run your business. What stock do you have that you don't need? Can you sell that, generate, to your capital? So that would be my own opinion on things. But always think as an entrepreneur, how do I optimize sales?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. The next question was from Timmy Tope, and she goes, he or she actually, what of the education sector? It's not been easy to run without any debt, without having debtors. So I think the point when this question came was when you had referred to keeping a track of your debtors and I think you had then mentioned if you can try to avoid having debtors. So I think that's when that question was shared.
So when you say everybody cannot be your customer. Do you understand? So if you have people that persistently owe you money, you have to disengage and you have to look for an alternative. And if you're not generating enough revenue from the business you're currently running, you have to diversify. There is no magic. If it's not working, it's not working. And I think that's one thing we have to be honest with ourselves about. If it's not working. So for example, my farm does okay, but it wasn't fantastic. So we diversified to gardening, right? So now we install gardens in people's houses, we sell herbs, and we do all of that. You have to find alternative ways of generating revenue. And if people constantly owe you money, please, you have to disengage. You can't have your balance sheet showing X amount of revenue and your accounts receivable is the same amount of money. So those are my thoughts anyway.
Yeah. And if I can add to that, I think because Temitope is specifying about a school, and we all know that schools can be quite sensitive because is you don't want to kick kids out for their parents not paying. Honestly, I learned something from my children's school during COVID time. They actually created a monthly payment plan. So you could consider that. Sorry, someone is not muted.
Yes. Sorry, that's me. Okay. Yeah. So sorry, in case this should cut off, because I just realized that there's an issue with my laptop. But just in case, I'll join with my phone.
No problem. Thank you for that, Ms.
So you were saying.
I was just speaking to Temitope particularly because she had mentioned the school, and I was highlighting that what I've seen work in the past personally, and even with some of our beneficiaries, is consider a payment plan on a monthly basis. We know that schools need certain funds to run, but we also know the economy is quite hard. So there's some flexibility that people in that industry are considering, saying, okay, if a parent cannot pay you on a termly basis, which I believe is every 3 to 4 months, consider a monthly payment plan. And sometimes sitting down with the parents could actually help. But I hear Temitope when she says sometimes you can't avoid that debt, and how do you disengage with parents because you don't want to kick students out of the school. But I think considering alternate payment plans for those parents would definitely
No, security will not let them inside.
The tough love. I like that.
Do you understand? Because I think I've just gotten to that point where I can't be emotional about this thing anymore. I understand that you can't pay this thing, but you have to understand that I cannot continue funding your lifestyle. But you have to do online school. Do you understand? And also, one thing you can do is also, if you have to be creative. Maybe you need to start doing online school. I don't know if they do that. Offer like after school tutorials or something. If you're not generating enough revenue and you have too many debtors in your core product line. But don't let them into the school after a while. I don't have to. Maybe that's why I'm saying that. So I have to.
Thank you for that, Ms. Durosinmi-Etti. There are a couple of comments, saying that's very insightful. Thank you. And that's from Favor based on the feedback you had shared. And thanks for the eye-opening session. Thank you very much. Okay, so we don't have any other questions in the chat, but I'm going to go to the Q&A box. So Abimbola says, I just started my small business and I'm having issues on pricing. I have made profit margin very low, and now it's difficult, to me at least, to simply increase rates as I'm still trying to have a good foothold. How can I move from this financial club I happen to have stepped in?
Okay, so that means you priced your products really low. And now you're concerned about increasing the price. Is that correct? Because you think you lose customers.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
So what is the ultimate goal? To stay in business? Can you stay in business with the price you're currently charging? If you cannot, you have to increase your price. And there's never been a better opportunity to increase your price than now. Everybody, do you know that literally they're increasing prices on a daily basis? right? And also, if you are scared, that means the products you are offering isn't good enough. So you have to ask yourself, how do I improve my product? So when I increase my prices, people feel like, oh, this is a different product. But if it's the same product and it's highly competitive, there are too many people in the market, then you need to pivot, basically, if you cannot. But if you are scared to increase your prices, that means you're not able to deliver value on the price you're giving. Like us, we increase our prices, and some people say, oh, it's too expensive. They're like, oh, we are so sorry, ma, but the economy. Use dollar. That's what we are all using. Everybody has increased prices. Don't be scared, or change your products or change your business. We all do that. I've done that as well. Just be focused on, why am I in business? Am I in business to, whatever it is you're in business to do, focus on that and make your decision based on that. But you have to increase your prices if you're not covering your cost and you're not making any margin. And I think the minimum margin you should add is 30 to 40%. Well, depending on the product, too. Some might be 10% and it's big, but 15% is 15, depending on high value products, probably like 15%. But if it's low value, 30 to 50, that works. And also, maybe you're not placed in the right market. You need to find the right market. You need to find your clients, people that are willing to pay for what you're offering. I don't know. I hope that helps.
Yes, I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think it's funny you've mentioned that, because it's that whole conversation again around confidence. Because if we looked at our counterparts in the same business, he probably has already increased his prices times 10. So Abimbola, I'm assuming you're a lady. Please don't shy away from doing that. As you've heard Mr. Rosimi stress, be confident as long as you know that your product or your service is, delivering value, and you know that what you're selling is actually going to help or benefit your customer, then go right ahead. Because your costs, you have to manage your costs. You cannot afford not to, put the right profit margin and say you want to stay in business. So as long as you want to stay in business, you would have to increase your prices.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next question, and thank you for that, Mr. Durosinmi-Etti, is WhatsApp advisable for a startup business?
What's advisable? What
is WhatsApp advisable for a startup business?
So full disclosure, I don't really advertise on WhatsApp because I don't know if you can specifically target on WhatsApp, right? So if you do some research, just go to YouTube and Google and type in, how do I use WhatsApp marketing? How do I optimize on WhatsApp marketing? Then if you read through it and just don't look at one video or read one article, read like 4 or 5, then decide. Then once you do that, you can now do a test run, do a test run and see what happens. Then take a decision.
Yeah, I think that's really spot on. We had a session yesterday with Number, who were giving POSs to women in the Lagos Island. And part of that approach was also saying to them we could train them on how to use WhatsApp for business as a startup. Even I underestimated how much WhatsApp for business has grown. So what it does is it actually allows you to keep a catalog of your products within reason. Yeah. So I'm sure by the time you scale, you know that what you need something beyond WhatsApp. But starting up, you can keep a catalog of your product or services, and you can actually price them. You can have distinct links for them and share with your contact list. And I think another thing that I thought was quite useful to see was you can actually use that your contact list can place an order via WhatsApp. The only snag that I will highlight, which goes back to Mr. Durosinmi-Etti's point, is you can't export. So you still have to separately track, your order as it comes in. Yes, you can have a visual on your phone of those items that I ordered last month, for example, but you still have to keep a track. So to answer Oluwaseun's question off the back of what Mr. Durosimi has shared, I would say yes for a startup business, but you still have to keep your records separate because you have to be accountable for which sales you have made via WhatsApp. But it's definitely a good tool to consider to at least start getting your orders in at minimal cost, because your only cost at that point in time is your data. Yeah, so I think that's a good question, Washing, but I would say you should know when to start and stop and also keep your records.
Sorry.
Okay, no problem. There was one other question from Emmanuel. I think I'll present my slides now because that speaks to that. So the question was, I'm Kendi. Oh, I'm Kendi. I don't remember, but the question came from Emmanuel. But anyways, I run a primary and secondary school in Lagos. I want information about financial support for schools, loans, and grants. So I think it's a good time to go through that. And it's just 2 slides. And whilst I'm going through that, if there are any questions in the chat, please ask it. Please give me a second. I need to charge my laptop. I do apologize. Okay, I'm back. So I was saying to, I believe it was Emmanuel, and I could send another name, Kendi Adiromo, so I'm not sure which is it. The next slides will hopefully help you answer those questions. I'm just going to share my screen now. I hope that's okay, Ms. Durosinmi-Etti.
Yes, I've stopped sharing.
Okay, thank you for that. Appreciate it. So a bit of background of LSETF, because I don't want to assume everybody on the call knows about a lot about what we do, but if you do, that's fine. It'll be a refresher. But basically, our mandate as a Lagos state agency is to ensure that we create opportunities for jobs for Lagosians and to make sure that we empower Lagosians to have access to capital. It's not only entrepreneurs that we target, we also target, employees as well. But ultimately, we're saying we need to ensure everyone is gainfully employed, has a means to access capital, and we can hopefully reduce that unemployment rate. And we deliver on this via 4 programs. The first one being MSME access to finance, which is the one I'm going to go through really quickly. The second one is business support. The event I mentioned yesterday, targeted at the Lagos Island women and men, was basically a business support program. And it's basically highlighting that beyond access to capital, what are those key skills you need to actually set you up for success as an entrepreneur? And part of the highlights that Ms. Durosinmi-Etti just covered is one of those programs off the back of our business support model. The third one is our employability program, and that's delivering training tools, the best training tools out there. We partner with organizations that deliver training across all the different sectors, whether it's finance, whether it's healthcare, whether it's education, whether it's entrepreneurship, bookkeeping, whether it's in construction, whatever the case may be. Our employability program gives those training skills. And the last one, last but not least, is Lagos Innovates, and that's our tech program that basically works with startups, and I'm glad somebody mentioned startups earlier on, works with startup and founders to help them gain access to mentors, gain access to masterclasses, gain access to investors that want to invest in their startup idea. And then we also support them by giving them vouchers to help them, create a minimum viable product for that idea that they have before they scale. And we partner with 70 hubs across Lagos to give them time to sit in those hubs to be able to build their idea up into a minimum viable product that they can then pitch to potential investors. So we are kind of that conduit between the founders and startups and the investors that would like to, put in funds to make sure that idea grows. But ultimately, we're here to say, if you have an idea, if you have a skill, we can work with you to ensure that you can grow that skill and also add value to Lagos State. So that's us in a nutshell, but I'll go through 2 slides because that covers, I think, 2 questions that were asked prior regarding our programs. So like I said earlier on, our program aims to create affordable access to funding for small businesses. We say that our beneficiaries either fall into micro, nano, medium size, small to medium size. And that's basically whether you're a sole trader, that's micro, whether you're hiring 10 people, and then up to 50 people if you're an SME. And then it's available to every business owner who's registered in Lagos State. And I'll go through those requirements later on. And it's very it's very important that you have visibility of what the criteria is, because as you can appreciate, with limited funding, we have a lot of people that apply for our programs, apply for our loans. So it's important that you meet each and every one of our criteria highlighted to give yourself a better chance of accessing these funds. Okay. So our MES is for startup businesses in Lagos State, and we have 50,000 to 250,000, and we typically give those loans for 12 to 15 months. The ME loan, slightly bigger, is small businesses in Lagos State, 50,000 up to 500,000. And we have a 12 months tenure for that loan. SME loan are registered and established medium-sized businesses, again in Lagos State, up to 5 million. And we tend to run those loans for 24 to 36 months. And then we also have a particular type of loan called the TAC loan, where we partner with a particular politician. And we focus on businesses in Lagos East Senatorial District, and it's up to 1 million. And that runs for 12 to 18 months. For all our 4 types of loans under our MSME program, we require 5% equity, and that's 5% of the loan size you're applying for. And then we also, it's worth noting that our loans interest rates are 9%. So we have a mandate to stick to, making sure that we don't go beyond 10% or double digits. So part of what Ms. Durosinmi highlighted earlier in terms of access to funding is also ensure that you're not overexposing yourself. So make sure you're applying to loans or access to capital with those interest rates that you can ensure that on a monthly basis you're covering, i.e. your income is covering your expenses and also any interest rates you have to pay on exposures that you have, either with LSETF or any other financier or any other bank. And then the second, sorry, just hold on. Okay, the second slide just speaks to what are our requirements across the different beneficiary class, whether it's MES, ME, or SME. And I'll run through this quite quickly. So if you're on this call and you don't have any of these, I would encourage you to get them immediately, register for them, so you can get access to our different loan options. So your LASRA ID, that's very important. It's highlighting you as a Lagos State resident. Who are you? I'm Feyisayo, or Mr. Durosinmi-Etti is Mr. Durosinmi-Etti. That ID just confirms that you're registered with the local government. Your tax ID, it's important that you actually are paying tax and you give us the proof of that tax. It's important that it's the ID. We don't necessarily have to see details of the tax you paid in the last year or 2 years. Just need to confirm that you are paying your taxes and you have a tax ID for that. Your valid ID card, there's about 4 that's recognized in Lagos State, from your international passport to your driver's license to your NIN. And I think the 4th one is your voter's card. So any one of those 4, whether you're an MES, ME, or SME, it's important that you have that available as well. Your BVN, I think that goes without saying. I think anybody right now who is intending to do good business as an entrepreneur, it's without a doubt that you have to have your BVN. And we as Lagos State Agency, we're trying to ensure that we include everyone in Lagos State. So we always start by saying, for you to be financially literate, you have to at least have your BVN, because it exposes you to a lot and gives you access to more. Your passport photograph, any training certificate you've gone on. So if you're an MES, because you're just starting off, we need something that confirms that you are serious about the business you're doing. So whatever training you've done to equip you for that business, or whatever skill that's required for that business, it's important that you have some proof of that. And then for the ME and SME, we also require your bank statement. I believe it's 6 months. And then your CAC registration if you're an SME business. Remember, I spoke about the different sizing. So if you need up to 5 million as an SME business, it's important that your business is registered and you have a CAC document that proves that. Also for SME is the tax identification number under IFRS. And then if you have been operating for over a year, obviously we need to confirm that you give us proof of that. And I want to stress this, and this is for the person that asked that question around what are the options for loans as a school. Our loans cover every sector. So at the moment, it's open to every Lagosian. We don't have any particular program that speaks to any particular sector. So I'd encourage you to apply for this loan. And you can access this via our website. Please, if anyone can just put our website in the chat, so that as you'll hear off the back of what I've shared, you can go there and explore more. And it also answers any questions. that you might have. I think the second half of the question that was asked was around grants. At the moment, we have what we call Lagos Cares, and we've partnered with obviously other elements of Lagos State and also the World Bank to provide certain funding to residents of Lagos State. And the three categories of those funds, but I would like us to please note that in the chat as well, so that part of the takeaway from this is you can go on there to see if you qualify for those grants. I would like to stress the difference between the two for anyone that's confused. The grants are, you have to qualify for the grants and you don't have to pay back any monies. Once you qualify, you apply, and then we'll come back to you if you do have, if you are successful in your application, because if there's a business case, you have to put forward for that. And then you don't have to pay us back. For the loans, however, you will have to pay us two things. One, the equity contribution, which obviously is refundable. And the second thing, is refundable after you've paid back the loan, whether it's 12 months or 15 months or 2 years. And the second thing is the 9% that I mentioned earlier on. It's important that everyone leaving this call knows that if you do qualify for LSETF loan, we would be expecting the 9% interest rate. So that commitment is very, very important. And last but not least, I always stress this, and I know Ms. Durosinmi-Etti didn't touch on it, but part of the funding requirement is, as you're taking this loan, and we are going to be granting you that loan, it would also help you to build your credit history and your credit worthiness. And as an entrepreneur, like Ms. Durosinmi-Etti had highlighted, the aspect of growth cannot be overemphasized, right? You want to grow your business. You want to be in a position to hire 2 more people, 5 more people, 10 more people. And as you're hiring more people and your business is growing, you need access to more capital. Once you have successfully paid off this loan, we would literally upload your details on the credit bureau database that confirms that Mr. Emmanuel, Ms. Feyisayo is a credit-worthy person and can then be trusted for more loans. So we have beneficiaries that come to us today to say, I applied for a loan with, whatever bank, I don't want to mention any bank in particular, and I wasn't successful. And then we say, well, what is your credit history? Have you been able to successfully pay off any loan? And most times you find out that the people that don't have a good credit history. So I'd encourage everyone on this call that as you're getting all the requirements for LSETF loan, and if you do apply and successful, make sure you pay back the loan in good time, because you are building a credit history and you're building a credit worthiness for yourself as an individual and your brand, and that would enable you to access more capital. Okay. So I'll stop sharing now and go through the chat if there are any more questions, either on what I've said just now in the last 3, 4, 5 minutes, or anything that Ms. Durosinmi-Etti had said earlier on. Okay, so Ajoke had said, how do I keep a proper record of my business? I need a good bookkeeping, which would you recommend? So Ms. Durosinmi-Etti had recommended, God, I don't remember the name now. Please, can you repeat that in the chat? But I know she also recommended Wave app, and I have used Wave app personally, and I would recommend it as a good place to start. Sorry, Ms. Durosinmi-Etti, can you repeat the one you had mentioned?
So we had mentioned Wave, which is free and which I agree with you is quite good. QuickBooks and Xero. And if you want to keep it basic, you can use Excel. Download template in Excel to track that.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Yeah. And but Ola Coton, I apologize, I'm pronouncing your name. It's really important that as you're using that tool, it's not just that the tool is there. The tool is not going to work for itself. You have to feed into that tool. So I think the starting point is your discipline to make sure that every activity is recorded before you then go into the tool. So whether it's Excel, whether it's any of the ones that were listed on. Favor had a follow-on comment. So I have been running my business for a while now, but had to take a break for my NYSC. Now I'm looking to start again, but on a bigger scale. To get the SME loan, I see that the bank statement is required. In my situation, what can be done? So if you've been running your business for a while now, do you have a record of that business that you've run, first of all, Favor? So when you say, well, now, how long is that for? And then how many people, are you hiring? Is it just you that works in the business? Because there's certain elements that will qualify you for the SME loan, right? And I would then ask, if you're an SME business, you wouldn't be running your business with just your own bank statement. You would have opened a bank account for your business. So we'd like to see the bank statement of your business and not necessarily your individual bank statement. So how are you, where are your customers paying into. It's important that we see that as well. Okay. So if you've been, I can see your comment saying you've responded that yes, you've run your business for a year. So whatever bookkeeping you've done for that year, let's have visibility of it. So that would add in addition to your bank statement, and then we can make a decision from there. I like the idea of a bigger scale. Well done, Favor. It's important. I like your energy. You're looking to start on a bigger scale. I like that. Can we have the link for the grant too? Yes, we'll put it up. Thank you, Rita. I don't know if anyone has put it up in the chat. We'll put both links, one for Lagos Cares and then the link for, well, LSETF as a whole, and then link to our program. So we'll put that in the chat, by the way. Thank you. I'm just going to make sure I haven't missed any other questions or comments. Please keep them coming. We have about 5 more minutes to 12:30. I think that's when we had booked an hour and a half for this session. So if you have any more questions, feel free to put them in the QA and we'll take them. Oyin, please, can you confirm if I've missed anything else? I don't think I have, but it'd be good to just do a run through. Okay, all right. I think we've covered it. Okay,
yeah,
and I can
but
see
if there's any, yeah, if anyone has any further questions, you can actually get in touch with us via email, just in case you have any more questions to ask. And if you have made a loan application and you have any challenges with it, because I've seen many comments around having applied and trying to understand what to do on the loan portal or getting to a certain stage and not being able to proceed. So please send us an email to info@lsetf.ng and we should be able to answer your questions.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Olufolake, thanks. Yeah, and thanks for including the link for the grants.
Lagos Cares,
Lagos
yes,
Cares.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's for the grants. Thank you. And in addition to what Oyi had shared, again, we spoke about social media extensively. I know everyone, well, maybe not everyone, but most of us on here will be on social media. So you can also check us out on our social media, LSETF.ng. I think I've got that correctly, but LSETF, we're the only ones there. Please, if you have any questions or comments, you can either send an email or you can drop us a DM. We're always one chat away. Okay, if we have no more questions, thank you, Ms. Durosinmi-Etti, for your time. Thank you for the wealth of knowledge. I think these masterclasses are very, very important because it's so, I feel like no one is an island. You can never know enough. You can never stop learning. So we encourage everyone that's been on here, feel free to share the knowledge with anybody else and make sure that you're signed up. We have your details so that when more of these masterclasses come up, obviously we put it on our social media. We can also communicate with you directly, but never stop learning. And like Ms. Durosinmi-Etti had shared, make sure you keep a record of everything you do in your business. We cannot underestimate that. Make sure you have good mentors, always network as much as you can, and then use the right tools, leveraging technology to set your business up for success. Ms. Durosinmi-Etti, do you have one last parting words for us?
So I changed my device, so I can't share my video on here. So I think I agree with you. Yes, I like that you've emphasized those key points. It's very important. Times are hard now for everybody. So keep your head up. The best is yet to come, and we're all in this together. And a big thank you to the team for this event, and thank you for the opportunity as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining. We appreciate your time. Oyi, over to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, ES. Thank you very much, Ms. Durosinmi-Etti. I think I had the same challenge with accessing my camera, and I also can't even respond to messages in the chat box, which is why I said, please email us, and then we'll be able to answer your questions. But I'll just answer the question around the VTCs now and say that, yes, if you have a vocational training certificate, you can apply for our MES loans. We just need to know that you are, like the ES said, like that you are actually upskilling yourself such that you can then start a business. All right, so just in concluding remarks.
You want to drag it? There's an empty chair, right?
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. Yeah, so thank you very much once again, Ms. Durosinmi-Etti, Mrs. Feyisayo Alayande, ES, for taking us through it's a very interesting topic because people tend to shy away from finance, but at the end of the day, it is really the bottom line, and it's what determines how successful and how sustainable you become as a business. So it is exceptionally important. I can't remember where we saw the statistics, but for small businesses, the lifespan is so short because people may not know how to structure things properly. And finance plays a huge role in ensuring that your business structure is intact. So I would like to tell you all to keep your heads up, just like we has been said already, and even continue to look out for the things that we put out there. We have our business support units sessions that's run every week. So we have these free sessions, we have these free tips, and you can always get in touch with us on social media, like the ES said, and we're happy to help you with making your businesses grow and become more successful. So with all of that said, thank you all once again for spending the last hour and a half with us. It has been an insightful session. It has been engaging, and we hope you were able to learn a lot from us. Please look out for more on this. There's a part two, so to speak, of this that's going to happen on the 20th of March. So please, by all means, if you have any more questions, you can bring them to that session, or you can get in touch with us and then we would answer the questions. So with all of that said, I'd like to hand over to our hosts so that we can end the session. So Fumi, over to you. I feel like we're in a relay.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for joining today's session. Really happy that we have our esteemed board member put us through all of those points and share that kind of insight with us. Thank you very much, Ms. Durosinmi-Etti. And our ES, thank you so much, ma'am, for spending this time with us and sharing more insights on our program at LSETF. And our able director, thank you so much for driving this. And our participant, thank you very much for staying tuned and learning as much as you can. Please endeavor to input all of these things that you've learned today into your business, and together we can watch your business scale, and we would definitely see your business at that top that we look forward to. Please join us again, like our director said, on the 20th to have more insight on the same topic. Join us on the 12th. For those that are asking, I saw a question, someone asking about bookkeeping. You can please join us on the 12th for our financial discipline session, where Bumper will be taking us through how you can know more on your bookkeeping and accounting to scale your business. So please join us on the 12th. Follow us on all social media platforms to have more updates on the dates and the link in order to register to join. Thank you all very much. Kindly please fill the survey after this session so that we can have more insights on your feedback on how to serve you better. Thank you all very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you very
everyone.
much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right, bye.